8 hours. One array mapping bug in a tool sold to me as no code. Here's the truth, nobody's selling you. Make.com courses will say, it's not no code, it's no syntax. The concepts are still there. If you're a solo founder who picked Make.com because you don't code, and you keep hitting a wall around invoice line items, order arrays, or nested API responses, this is for you. I'll show you the exact shape of data that breaks non-devs in Make, and the rule of thumb that saves you 5 figures a year. I build these flows in production for small businesses. Let's start with the part the tutorials skip. Picture a real scenario I rebuilt for a small invoicing business in the Balkans. They send about 200 invoices a week. Each invoice comes into the automation as one payload, but inside that payload is an array of line items. Sometimes 3 items, sometimes 40. Each item has a tax rate, a discount, a unit, and a description that has to be normalized before it goes into the accounting system. That's the job. On paper, it sounds like a 5-module scenario in Make.com. In reality, the production flow ended up at 12 modules, 3 aggregators, 2 error handlers, and a router. And the honest number: about 8 hours to find one bug where an aggregator was silently dropping the last item of every invoice that had more than 15 lines. Not because Make.com is broken, because the person building it didn't realize they were writing code. They were writing a nested loop with a reducer. The UI just hid the words. That's the whole problem with the no-code pitch. Make.com does not remove code. It removes syntax. It still asks you to understand arrays, iterators, aggregators, collections, bundles, and error routes. Those are computer science concepts. You can drag them, but you still have to reason about them. And when your data has arrays inside arrays, which is basically every real business workflow, that reasoning is where non-developers freeze. Here is the pattern I see over and over with clients. Flow 1. A linear pipeline. Webhook comes in, enrich the contact, write to a CRM, send a Slack message. Make.com is beautiful for this. 15 minutes, done. Cheaper than N8N to run, and a non-technical founder can maintain it. Flow 2. The same shape, but now with an array. A new order comes in with multiple products. For each product, look up inventory, calculate margin, write a row. Still okay in Make. 1 iterator, 1 aggregator, maybe 40 minutes if you understand what a bundle is. Flow 3, and this is where it breaks. Nested data. An invoice with line items, and each line item has multiple tax components, and you need to group by tax rate and sum. Then push 1 summary row and many detail rows to 2 different systems, with rollback if either fails. In Make.com, that is a router with 2 aggregators, an iterator inside an iterator, and error handling on every branch. Realistically, 12 to 15 modules and a full afternoon of debugging bundle IDs. In N8N, the same logic is 1 code node, about 4 lines of JavaScript, and a split in batches node. 20 minutes, and it costs you 1 execution instead of 40 operations per invoice. That is the rule of thumb I give every client now. If your data is flat, Make.com wins. If your data has arrays inside arrays, N8N will cost you 5 times less build time, and roughly 1/10 the ops bill at volume. The invoicing flow I mentioned was burning about 47 operations per invoice on Make. 200 invoices a week, 4 weeks. That's nearly 40,000 operations a month, just for 1 workflow. The same logic in 8N8 runs as roughly 800 executions a month on a self-hosted instance that costs €20 in server time. That is not a small optimization. That is the difference between a plan that scales and a plan that quietly eats your margin. Now here is the part I want you to actually take away. Because this is not a make versus N8N video. The real skill isn't picking a tool. The real skill is looking at your data before you pick a tool. Open the JSON payload your webhook receives. Count the levels of nesting. If you see one array, either tool is fine. Pick the cheaper one to run. If you see an array of objects where each object contains another array, you are writing code whether you like it or not. And N8N's code node will save you days. If you're stuck on a scenario with nested data and your ops bill keeps climbing, that's exactly the work we do at BizflowAI.io. Go see real examples of the hybrid make plus N8N stacks we ship for small businesses. If this breakdown helped, hit subscribe and ring the bell so the next automation tier down finds you. And if you have a workflow you want rebuilt properly, book a free 30-minute discovery call at BizflowAI.io and we'll map it out with you.